Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Inverness in the Spotlight, a weekly show hosted by the Inverness Old Town Association, spotlighting its members. Today we have as our guest on our first segment, Charles Richer from Canadian Meds. Charles, why don't you tell us a little bit about how your business got started?
All right. Long ago, 11 years ago, I moved down here from Greater New York, and I had two previous businesses as soon as I got here because I don't play golf. So I read an article one day in the New York Times about the influx of medicine coming in from Canada. And I spoke to the missus, and I simply said to her, let's go check this out. We'll make it a combined vacation. So off we went to British Columbia. Lo and behold, we hooked up with a brick and mortar pharmacy. We came back. We rented a store on 44 next to Nicholas Ford, and we were in business. And 9 years later, we're still in business, still at the same store, and we've been very fortunate. God's been good to us and my family. We've got over 3,000 clients at our store, and we definitely offer prices that are 50 to 70% lower than the drugstore price.
Well, let's say I was a client that had a prescription in my hand for any particular medicine, and I was looking to try to find a way to get that medicine at a lower price, and I came to you. How would the situation work? What do you do for me?
Well, very simply, the young ladies who happen to be, it's a family business. My daughter and my daughter-in-law work for me, and my wife. So I have plenty of good, reliable help, and you would be coming in, you would bring your script, and we would take some patient profile information, basically how you want it shipped, where you want it shipped, how you're going to pay for it, and we would take some medical history, height, weight, usual stuff, what medicine you take. All that, the script and the patient profile is electronically transcribed to Canada. Canada reaches out to the whole international community to effectively bring the drugs in at the lowest possible price. That's how it works. United States Mail delivers your package to your door. It takes 2 to 4 weeks to get your script, your medicine in your door. But once you're in the program, we teach you to call 2 months from the day you receive the medicine and leave another month for shipping purposes. And it works very well, and you've put a lot of money in your pocket. The largest box store in the world charges $600 or give or take a few bucks for Plavix. My store only charges $105.
Now, how is it that you're able to get Plavix, let's say, at such a great savings to the consumer as opposed to a box store or a pharmacy?
Okay, simply speaking, because the pharmacy is selling the medicine, okay, brand. We're selling generic. Patent laws forbid anybody in the United States from making a generic Plavix. But overseas, they don't live by our patent laws. So they jump right in 6 months after the medicine's on the market. There is a generic for it, which may not happen for 7 to 15 years in the United States. There's a big hullabaloo and going on in the paper now. Plavix and Lipitor, they're going to become generic. But it's going to take 6 to 9 months from the time they become generic for other manufacturers to gear up and get ready to start, hopefully, reducing the price that people have to pay. But they'll be buying generic medicine, which by law is chemically equivalent to the brand.
So in other words, the medicines that we've been reading about is how they're suddenly going to be available at a much cheaper price generic. They've been able to get those same medicines generic through your store for some period of time.
For 9 years.
At a much cheaper rate.
At a much, much cheaper rate. That's absolutely right. And those people that are senior citizens that have Medicare Part D, which is a policy that basically has a value of $2,850, and if you spend it, then you can't get any more medicine through your insurance policy. So you pay a monthly premium from $30 to $85. Then you go in and you pay a copay for your Plavix. $100, $105 is your copay when you walk in to get 90 pills. But the government is you're being charged by the government the full retail price. So in a year's time, you're going to spend $2,400 for Plavix. So your other medicines, you only have $450 left in that plan before you go into the infamous donut hole.
And tell us a little bit about that for Medicare recipients.
For Medicare recipients, what they're really faced with is if they stay within the $2,850, they don't have, maybe they have one medicine, one expensive, one reasonable medicine, but if they have what the average senior has, 2 to 3 medicines, they're more than likely going to go into the donut hole. So the best way to avoid that is to take the most expensive medicine out of the mix, purchase it from my store, and your other medicines will ride under your cap of $2,850.
So your service enables people to be able to ensure that they're going to be able to get their full supply of all their medicines throughout the year.
Right, and out-of-pocket costs will be no different than whether they're in the store or they're at the box store. It doesn't make any bit of difference. So we do everything we can to please our clients.
Now, I assume another area where your store and the ability to get prescriptions cheaper would really help is for citizens that have these prescriptions but might be below Medicare age and maybe not have insurance. Why don't you tell me?
Well, if they don't have insurance, then they definitely belong in my store. That's a fact. That's inescapable. If they do have some insurance, it depends. If they come in and I see what's covered, maybe my medicine is still cheaper than what they have to pay as a copay to get that medicine. But more and more companies are shying away from prescription drug coverage. It's one of their biggest expenses. The medical and health expense is enormous, okay? People are paying outrageous sums for Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and then they have to try and get a prescription plan. That doesn't fit in Blue Cross and Blue Shield's world. You can get one, you got to pay a lot of money.
And so therefore, that can be circumvented at a much more reasonable rate by going to you and getting these medicines.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's no cheaper place in the United States than a Canadian Med store to buy medicine.
All right, and you've been in business here in town for 9 years, and you're not going anywhere. You intend to be here much into the future.
God willing, I hope to be here as long as God will let me be here. And I mean, we have a wonderful life here. We're Rotarians, we're Inverness Old Town Association people. We're solid citizens. We do things for the community. As much as we get, I think we give back all the time. It's a wonderful thing that we do as people who volunteer.
All right, well, thank you, Charlie Richer, and please tune in right after these messages for another segment of Inverness in the Spotlight.